Hi all, welcome to another video. Now I've already done one on this Elite 8300, but this is an experiment to see if we can get any of the most popular games playing on the HD graphics that's used by this i5-3570 CPU with 8GB of RAM and an SSD. Because since I did the original video, there's been quite a lot of updates, as there always is on these games. So it's just really an experiment to see if this machine is up to it or if a low profile graphics card's needed. Okay, so I'm in the Intel HD graphics control panel, and in general settings I've set the quality to performance. So what I'll do is I'll start up some games and see if the latest versions of the most popular free games can still play on 8GB of RAM, an i5-3470 CPU and HD graphics. First up is Valorant. Now I've got the frame rate capped to 30 and low quality on all the settings, and any on-off flags to do with quality set off. I've got VSync on and the lowest resolution, and at the moment with not too much happening, it's a solid 30. I'm a bit reluctant to up that frame rate cap because I just know it's not going to make much difference. I mean, it doesn't look that great either, but at least it's sort of playable. So I'll try and get a few other characters moving. And on this machine I'm not very good, but anyway, that frame rate's 30, so it's up to you if you want to up any of those settings. But me personally, I'd stick with what I've got if this is your machine. So that's Valorant. Up next is Paladins. I'm in the graphical menu, so everything's set to low, resolution 1366 by 768, which the system seems to have automatically set, so I'll stick with that. And any on-off flags set to off. So what I'll do is I'll get into a game and report back. The resolution scale's 100, so nudge that down if you get any problems. So let's get into a game. So onto Paladins. I've selected everything on low, as you saw in the game menu, and at the moment nothing going on. It's above 50 frames per second. It's quite a good looking game, this, even on the settings I've put. So I think if you enjoy Paladins and a similar sort of game with similar system requirements, I think you're going to have a decent gaming experience. Because even with a few characters, it still tries to maintain above 50, occasionally nudging 60. So I'll just wait for respawn. And this size monitor, as long as you can get above 30, 40 frames per second, you'll be fine. So you need a bit more practice at this game. But yeah, it's still maintaining above 40, 50 frames per second. So maybe there's a bit of headroom to get some of those settings up a touch, but me personally, on a FPS game, I'd leave things as is. Okay, so that's Paladins. Up next is Zula. So looking in the graphics menu, I've selected the graphics menu level of minimum. Well, the system did, so I'll stick with that. Resolution is 1366 by 768, and VSync is off, and a few of the other flags are off as well. So always start off on this sort of system with minimum. and take it from there. So I'll save those and get into a game and report back. Right, so we're into a game. Now, interesting thing is that the game would crash if Bandicam was active. So for the FPS counter, I've got the Steam internal one, which you probably can't see. But at the moment, with not too much going on, we're at above 80 frames per second, but you're not going to see much more than 60 on this sort of monitor. So there's a bit of leeway to get some of those graphics settings up, or even the resolution a touch, but it looks all right to me. So I'll try and get a few characters on. I can't really see any screen tearing, but if you experience it, just put VSync on. So I'm just waiting for respawn, because I need, as with most of these games, I need a bit of practice. So I'll get a few effects. Try and get a few effects going. Get a few more characters going. But at the moment it's holding up quite well actually. So this game is definitely playable on this sort of system. See if I can get a few more characters on the screen. I'll just wait for us to respawn. Yeah, so feel free to play Zula. So onto Fortnite. I'm in the display and graphics settings menu. Resolution's 1280 by 720, VSync off. Now I'm going to limit the frame rate to 30, and I've set the rendering mode to legacy performance, and all the on-off flags are set to off, everything's set to low, 3D resolution's set to 60%. That's not going to look great, but as with this system, and I keep saying, always start off minimal settings and work your way up if possible. Now, I was in here and about to start a game, and in the opening scene before the game launches proper, there was some graphical glitches and the game actually crashed. And I was just wondering if it's something to do with Bandicam again. So I'm not going to be using Bandicam to do the frame rate counter. I think this has got its own in-game counter. So I'll put that to on, get into a game and report back. Now I'm in the initial warm-up setup. Now I'm not sure if this game's got to do any background tasks before you start playing it properly. So we'll wait and see. I've got its own internal frame counter. At the moment it's on rock solid 30, but there's nothing happening at the moment. I did notice a few graphical glitches, so whether they happen in game or not, I don't know, but they're quite strong, as you can see. Right, so we're in the bus, as it were. Now normally this game struggles a bit for some reason when you first play it on the drop zone part, as I call it. But see what happens once we get into a game, because at the moment it's on 10 frames per second, which is not really ideal. So it may or may not sort it out, but I've noticed there's graphical glitches, and to be honest, I couldn't live with that, even if there are background tasks to complete. So I don't think Fortnite's going to be playable, to be honest. Anyway, part of this process is to benchmark. So indoors it's back up to 30. So I'm not going outside yet. I'm playing properly. I'm just running around at 30 frames per second. Going outside now. So I'm looking around. It looks like I will need VSync on. I can sort of see, yeah, I'm not sure if that's lightning or from the storm, but I don't think, to be honest, Fortnite's going to be that playable. Just running around, that frame rate's all over the place. It's hovering late teens, 20s. So it's up to you if you want to try it. But there's graphical glitches. I think there's another performance rendering mode that uses DirectX 12. This uses DirectX 11. But if the game's no good on this, then it's no point in trying that. Yeah, you can see, look, there's too many graphical glitches. At the moment, with no other characters, it's late teens, early 20s frames per second. But anyway, the purpose of this exercise is to see if the system can play Fortnite. So just to recap, I ran a few of the more popular online games: Zula, Paladins, Fortnite and Valorant on HD graphics, 2500 on the i5-3570 CPU, 8GB of RAM and SSD. And the results speak for themselves. Zula and Paladins were quite playable. Valorant, at a push, you can get away with it. Fortnite, not really playable, even though the game launches. So, as with all these games, start off with all settings set to low. The graphical flags on off set to off, and the lowest resolution, and work your way up if you can. So if you've got this sort of system, you can certainly play a few games on it without adding a graphics card. Thanks for watching. If you've got any more questions, just let me know.